Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome again to another video of our financial intelligence classes. Now, water and oil do not mix. Water and oil do not mix. When you mix water and oil, these are two immiscible liquids. When you mix the two, they are not going to form a solution. They are going to form what we call two layers, all right? Two layers. So they are not going to mix. So what normally behaves the same way as water and oil? What behaves the same way as water and oil is money and emotions. Emotions. Ladies and gentlemen, money and emotions do not mix. And when you try to mix the two, they are not going to work together. Because in most cases, when you include emotions in financial decision making, when you include emotions in investments, when you include emotions when you're trying to come up with a good financial path, when you include emotions in budgeting, when you include emotions in business, ladies and gentlemen, in most cases, that investment, that business, that budget, that whatsoever called or has to do with money is going to fail or is going to be affected in one way or the other. So these are two different things, ladies and gentlemen, that do not mix. And when you try to mix the two, something is not going to work together. And just like water and oil, they don't mix, then money and emotions are not going to mix at all. And therefore, anytime you make a financial decision, you should try your best to avoid making that financial decisions using emotions. Now, in this particular video, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you examples of emotional financial decision making, or examples of a decision that you may make out of emotions. And I'm going to teach you, I have a couple of them, ladies and gentlemen. When I teach you this, you are going to see how people are affected by emotions when it comes to financial decision making. So ladies and gentlemen, you should stay with me in this particular video up to the end so that you can be educated. And therefore, this is another reason that you should stay subscribed in this particular channel. Make sure that you hit the subscription button, make sure that you hit the notifications bell, and make sure that you put a comment on the comment section. And if you feel that this video is of value, then you can make sure you have shared it with friends so that we have our community educated. So ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the business of the day. Now, I'm going to get rid of this so that I can start my points and explain to them one by one examples of emotional financial decision making, or examples of decisions that you may make out of emotions. And my point number one is impulse buying. Impulse buy. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all know that everybody knows what is impulse buying, and if you don't know what is impulse buying, this is buying out of control. And I normally define impulse buying in simple terms: buying out of budget. This is buying outside the budget. Buying outside the budget. That item that you had not budgeted for and you end up buying it, that one is impulse buying. For example, if you come up with a budget and you say, in this particular month, I'm going to buy 2 trousers. That is what I have budgeted for my income in this particular month. You say that I'm going to buy 2 trousers. And then when you wake up and you go to buy the trouser or the clothes, you find out, oh, even that one is beautiful. I wanted to buy 2 dresses. Even that one is beautiful. Oh, I wanted a jacket only that is going to cost me 2,500, but now I have like 5 jackets here. Oh, let me pick that one, and that one. Remember, you had budgeted for one, but at the end of it all, you end up buying 3 or 4. That one is the extra 3 that you have bought. That one is impulse buying. Ladies and gentlemen, you bought out of emotions. You bought because something made you happy about it. You bought it because you felt good that this item is looking nice. It's not only clothes. You might come across something along the way as you walk, and then you find out, oh, this thing is looking good. Oh, I like that shoe. Even if it does not exist in your budget in that particular month, you end up buying that particular item that one is impulse buying, and you normally buy it out of emotions. You feel good about it, you feel you love it, it's looking good in your eyes, and therefore you say, I'm not going to leave this behind, even if it was not budgeted for. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, when you buy something that was not in the budget, then what it means that you exhaust even the savings that you had put aside so that you can be able to make sure that you have some financial security. So, ladies and gentlemen, impulse buying is the first emotional decision making that you are talking about. And what are you supposed to do here? You're supposed to always make sure that you don't do impulse buying. And the solution to this is you come up with a budget, and stick to it. Stick to it. Once you come up with a budget, you stick to it, you become a disciplined person. You say, this month I'm going to follow my budget to the letter. And once I meet something new on the streets, I'm not going to purchase it. I'm going to postpone it to the next budget, where I'm going to adjust my budget and include it in the next budget. So, ladies and gentlemen, impulse buying is the first emotional financial decision, and we should try to avoid that habit, because it's going to mess up everything. Yeah, so you can imagine, even ladies, when you come up across iPhones and so on and so on, you feel, oh, I have some 150,000. Why should I not buy this phone? It was not budgeted for. And therefore, you end up using all your money. You end up, becoming broke again because of emotions-driven financial decisions. So let's go to number 2. Ladies and gentlemen, this one is very common and it's very interesting. It's called revenge spending. Number 2 is revenge spending. Revenge spending. Now, this one is very common, and it's very common in married people, in those people who have relationships, and this one comes along when there is what we call a breakup. There is a divorce, and there is an argument. Yes, revenge spending comes up when there is a breakup. Probably two people are dating, or probably you had gone up to the level of courtship and so on and so on. And one way or the other, you break up, you part ways. And therefore, there is what we call revenge spending. In a very few seconds, I'm going to tell you what is revenge spending is. Then this one, again, when there is a divorce, when two people divorces each other. For example, a husband and wife, they part ways, they divorce, and everybody goes on their own separate ways. Then if there is an argument, for example, probably if the argument was about to do with finances and so on and so on, you realize these three things, the outcome, the cause may be finances. The reason why people are going to break up in most cases, it's not always, but in most cases, because of money. Divorces comes along because of money. Arguments comes along because of money. And go and do your own investigation, and you are going to find out that finances are going to cause breakups, divorces, and arguments. Now, when this happen, when these three events, breakup, divorces, and arguments happen, there is what we call revenge spending. For example, you want to prove to your person, or the person that you have parted ways, that, oh, even without you, I can make it. You see, the dress that you refuse to buy me, I can be able to buy it for myself. Now look, I'm now using an iPhone after I broke up with my boyfriend, after I divorced my husband, I'm now using an iPhone. Oh, I was able to buy a car after I left my wife. It means my wife was a liability. You see, that one is called revenge spending. It is when you try to come up with a lifestyle, and the main point of coming up with that lifestyle is for someone else to feel bad. It's not because that you wanted it. Actually, maintaining that lifestyle could be hard for you, but because you want someone else to see, someone who was close to you, someone who didn't believe in you, someone who saw that you didn't have money. For example, when men are not so when men are not going to work together with ladies, because probably men do not have finances and so on and so on, they feel that, oh, she left me because I didn't have money. She left me because I didn't have money. And therefore, when men becomes financially somehow stable and they have something to give out, and then they want to, the same ladies that they left them want to know that now I have money and you want to come back. You see, that one is revenge spending, and therefore it is not a good habit because it is spending out of emotions. You want to make someone feel bad, you want to prove something to someone, and so on and so on. Breakup, divorces, and arguments. When it comes to argument, you argue with your boyfriend, your wife, and so on and so on. And probably if you are arguing about finances, and then you wanted to prove to that person, probably you requested someone to buy something for you, and they told you that they didn't have money, and then because you want to prove to them that you can actually be able to afford that particular item even without them, you go on and buy it even if it was not budgeted for, and therefore you end up broke because the main aim was not even to satisfy your desires. The main aim was to make someone feel bad. So ladies and gentlemen, this one should stop. It's not, you might think that you are helping yourself, but in most cases you are losing and the other side is winning. That is always the case. So once you break up with someone, once you divorce with someone, ladies and gentlemen, just go to your own separate ways in peace. In peace. Do not use all your money to show someone that you moved on, you did this and that, you are now like this, and now you are living a very good life without them, and so on. But in real case, you are struggling with finances. That is the situation as we talk. And ladies and gentlemen, revenge spending, it's another emotional financial decision making, and it's not good at all. It is not good. And therefore, that one allows me to move to my point number 3. My point number 3, fear-based selling. They are what we call fear-based selling. Now, this one happens in business context. Business contexts. Yeah, this one happens in business context. For example, I'm just going to take a very simple scenario here. For example, if you own a business and you feel that there is a downturn of the markets, or the market is going down. For example, if you're doing online trading, or you are probably doing any other physical business, and then you feel that the market is going down, and you feel that you want to sell the stock very fast in the fear of losing money. You know, that one, it's an emotional drive that is making you sell that particular stock so that you may not lose money. And therefore, when you sell, and therefore the market again goes up, and then that's when you realize, oh, the emotions made me sell my stock. Kumbe, I could have maintained, I could have given myself some time, I could have given the market some time. It was supposed to be better, and therefore, out of emotions, I sold my stock at a loss. And actually, I thought that I had secured some money, but actually I lost money. So ladies and gentlemen, fear-based selling. You sell your stock during the downturns or the downtimes of the markets in the fear that you don't want to lose money. It can happen in online platforms. It can happen in for example, those people who normally do trade shares in Nairobi Securities Exchange. You feel that the market is going down or the company is going down, and then you decide, oh, let me sell the shares of this particular company because the company is going down, instead of giving it time to see whether the share price is going to go up again. And in most cases, you can also relate to other businesses. For example, if you have a boutique, you have a shop, you are selling clothes and so on and so on, and then there is a government policy all of a sudden that says 1, 2, 3, and you feel this government policy is going to affect our businesses, and what you normally think is, now let me sell my stock, because if this government policy starts affecting the market, then it means you are going to lose a lot of money. And you do what we call fear-based selling. You sell your stock out of the fear that you are going to lose your business. So what should you do? You should always make sure that you have given yourself some time and do your due diligence. For example, you do a research and probably try to comprehend the situation. So ladies and gentlemen, fear-based selling is another emotional driven financial decision making. Now let me move to my point number 4. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are moving together with me. There is what we call FOMO investment, or FOMO investing. FOMO investing. And what do we mean by FOMO? FOMO in capital letters means fear of missing out. Fear of missing out. And what we call now, Ladies and gentlemen, this one affects so much young people, young generation, the Gen Zs. They are mostly affected by FOMO, the fear of missing out. FOMO investing, the fear of missing out. For example, if there is a trend of clothes, if there is a trend of clothes and you're seeing that your friends are wearing 1, 2, 3, oh, there is that now jeans that is trending all over and all my friends have it. They have been able to buy it. And you fear that even when you don't have it, you have pressure inside you and you want to buy it. For example, there is this thing that is going on online. For example, ladies are so much into iPhones, iPhone 16 Pro Max, and so on and so on. And if you are a lady and you feel that and you don't have iPhone, you have the pressure inside. Why don't I have iPhone like the rest of the ladies? And therefore you start thinking that how you can get money so that you can buy an iPhone and so on and so on. You see, it is an emotional driven activity. It is not something that is necessary. No, it is an emotional triggered activity. You want to buy that iPhone because your friends have it, and you fear that you are missing out of those people who are having iPhones. You are not there, and you feel disturbed, you feel depressed, you feel stressed, you feel that no, I'm not living the life that is supposed to be lived. Why are people having iPhones? Why are people using Samsung S25 Ultra and I'm not using one? When it comes to gentlemen, Subaru boys and so on and so on, you want that particular lifestyle. You want a certain lifestyle that men are living, but you don't know whether they get the money. But you are disturbed. You have the pressure. The social media is making you, not sleep because you want that particular lifestyle. You see, FOMO investing, fear of missing out. When something comes up, you want to be included in it. When there is a trend, you want to be part of that trend. When there is a new phone, there is an upgrade, you want to buy that phone because people are upgrading. It's not because that one is an emotional driven financial. And what does it do? It's very dangerous because you will never, number one, you will never be able to save your money. You will always use everything that you have saved. You will always, what I'm saying, that fear of missing out makes you think or makes you do things out of emotions, that is financial decisions that are out of emotions, and you buy things that you don't need, and later in life you just come to realize this one was just peer pressure, nothing else. So ladies and gentlemen, fear of missing out or FOMO investing is very dangerous. It's another emotional financial driven activity. So ladies and gentlemen, that is my point number 4. Let me go to my point number 5. Ladies and gentlemen, I go to my point number 5. Emotional lending. Emotional lending. Now, emotional lending is another dangerous emotional driven financial decisions. Emotional lending is where you lend money to your friends and to your family even when there are red flags. You lend money to your friends, to your family, even when there is red flags. Red flags. You know very well that when you give your family that money, it's never going to come back. Because previously, you gave them another money and you give them another money. And now they are asking for more. You know very well if when you give again, that money is not going to come back. But because of the fear of, you don't want to be like, what do we call this? You feel that they are going to be desperate, or you feel that this one is my family, and they are entitled, or I'm entitled to give them what it takes if there is a problem. You see that family nature in quotes. When someone is friends and you feel that you don't want to lose the friendship, or so and so on and so on. So probably it's your dad or your mom or your sister asking for your money, and you feel that no, I'm supposed to give them money, even if you don't, you know that that money is not going to come back. So ladies and gentlemen, emotional lending is another dangerous emotional financial decision making, and you should run away from it. What I normally advise people is that when you come up with a budget, make sure that you allocate some money to friends and family. If it's 5,000 that you have allocated there, and it has come to an event that that 5,000 is exhausted, then look for something else. Tell them that the money that I had, don't even tell them that you had budgeted 5,000 for family and friends. No, just tell them there is no money. Because if you now go and look for more money, you are either going to borrow or you take your savings to the same family and friends. So ladies and gentlemen, emotional lending is very bad and you should try your best to avoid it and move away from it. Let me move to my point number 6, ladies and gentlemen. Let me move to my point number 6 on emotional financial decision making. And we are talking about lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation. This one affects, again, in most cases, it's going to affect the young people. Lifestyle inflation. And lifestyle inflation is whereby with every increase in the income that you have in your life, then you want to inflate your lifestyle. You want to increase your lifestyle. You want to move from 1-bedroom to 2-bedroom house. You want to feel that you don't want, now you never want to travel with Matatu. You want to travel with Uber, and so on and so on. Now, once you have an increase in income, you feel that, the phone that I'm using is not good for me. I need to upgrade this particular phone. So you elevate your lifestyle very fast with increase in your income. Instead, you should maintain the expenses or reduce the expenses with increase in income. Once you increase the income, you maintain the expenses, or you just move up a little just to cover the inflation. So ladies and gentlemen, lifestyle inflation, it is emotional driven. You feel, money comes with something else inside. When you have money, you feel like, oh, I'm entitled to this. I'm entitled to this. I can be able to take myself here and there, and 1, 2, 3. So ladies and gentlemen, that emotional feeling inside you is the one that normally makes you probably try to move from one place to the other. And what I can advise, ladies and gentlemen, is that when there is an increase in income in your life, try to maintain your expenses and save more instead of, or you can just rise up a little and the rest you can be able to save. So ladies and gentlemen, lifestyle inflation is another emotional driven financial decision or financial decision. Now, moving to my point number 7, ladies and gentlemen, is gambling or risky investments. Gambling or risky investments. Now, gambling or risky investments. This one again affects the young people. In most cases, it's going to affect the young people, because when people gamble, this one is supposed to be letter A. When people gamble, there is some financial constraints in their life, and they are trying to cover the gap when it comes to finances. When people gamble, you feel that you are going to win big. It is the greed of making a lot of money. It is the greed of becoming rich faster that makes people gamble. It is that urge of wanting to fulfill financial needs, the urge of wanting to fulfill financial needs. And you are going to gamble or probably participate in risky investment, thinking that you are going to win, or you are going to probably solve that financial problem, and you engage yourself in gambling and risky investment. But when you do that, you realize that you are actually losing that money to that gambling or to that risky investments, because it's promised, or probably, for example, Aviator, you think that you are going to put money there, you cash out millions and millions. That one is an emotional driven activity. You are not supposed to listen to your emotions when it comes to financial decision making. In most cases, you are supposed to use strategies. For example, just know that if I engage in an investment that is going to give you a return of 20% per day, that one, and you feel that, oh, if I deposit 1 million here, then at the end of the month, I'll be having double the amount. So ladies and gentlemen, you end up participating in that particular risky invest. For example, CBEX. CBEX is a risky investment, and out of the emotions and what people are saying about it, you end up putting your money there, and you lose your money. So ladies and gentlemen, gambling or risky investments, it's another emotional financial decision making, and you should, when it comes to here, you should not listen to emotions. If it's investments, participate in low risk investments, or you can take what we call calculated risks when you want to invest, or just do your due diligence. For example, you study an investment, you see, oh, now I can be able to invest my money in this particular project. But do not listen to your emotions when it comes to financial decision, because in most cases you are going to lose your money. All right, now moving on to my point number 8, and my last point, ladies and gentlemen, is buying for status. Buying for status. Buying for status. Buying for status. Now, buying for status, this one again affects the young people. I think the young people have been affected by a lot of points here, because buying for status is when you want to have a lifestyle, so that just primarily to please others. You want to buy a luxury clothes, you want to buy a luxury phones, luxury gadgets, you want to buy a very beautiful car, you want to live in a very beautiful home, but it's not for, to satisfy your needs. But in most cases, you want to show others that you have a lifestyle. You see, buying for status, the status in quotes. Oh, that person is very rich. You want titles. You want that whatever you are chasing is titles. So it's not a financially driven activity. It's not strategic. It's emotional. There are people that you want to show that you are actually rich or wealthy, or you can be able to afford something. So buying for status is another emotional driven financial decision, and people should try a lot to avoid it. And in most cases, when you find the young people, they want that status, or probably you have seen someone online driving a very good car and you feel that you want that particular lifestyle, you want to reciprocate the same, you go on doing illegal activities to have money, or you just use illegal means to have money so that you can finance that particular lifestyle because you want the same title or status. So ladies and gentlemen, it's going to affect the young people, and therefore this one has been in social media for so long and it's affecting the young people so much. So ladies and gentlemen, let's be educated about this buying for status. Just be contented with what you have. If you can afford that phone, just stay with it. If your income is 50,000, do what you can with 50,000. If your income is 100,000, do what you can with 100,000. Do not be earning 50K and you want to hire very luxurious cars. You want to go for V8 so that you can travel home, so that people from your village can see you, and so on and so on. And therefore, when you come back to town, you are very broke. You cannot even be able to fuel that particular car, and you cannot be able to, you also utilize the rent money, and so on and so on. So ladies and gentlemen, that status or that emotional thing that is driving you to do something like this is going to cost you a lot, ladies and gentlemen, and therefore you should move away from buying for status. So ladies and gentlemen, those are my 8 points on examples of emotional financial decision making, and you should run away from them. You should try your best to not do them. That is impulse buying. Don't buy things just for the sake of buying. Make sure you put them on the budget. Revenge spending, ukiachana we enda zako, mwingine enda zako. Hii mambo ya kushinda ukionyesha mtu, oh, nime move on, sijui, look at this, when I was having you I was not able to afford this, and so on and so on. Yeah, fear-based selling, ladies and gentlemen. Be intelligent when you are doing business. FOMO, fear of missing out, emotional lending, lifestyle inflation, gambling or risky investments, buying for status. Ladies and gentlemen, those are 8 points on emotional decision making that you are supposed to avoid. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're seeing me for the first time, my name is Sir John Mweri. I'm a professional accountant with ex-FINOP accountancy and insurance consultancy. Now, remember to like this particular video, remember to hit the subscription button, and remember to hit that notification bell so that anytime I upload a video, YouTube is going to notify you that Sir John Mweri has uploaded a new video. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that was my time. See you on the next. Stay liquid.